Hello viewers, this is Laura Martin and this is Simeon Papaelas and we're here with Brokers Playbook. It is mid-quarter 3 and everyone's freaking out because they're not hitting their Q3 targets almost certainly. Some are.
And a lot of people are, and I mean we have a lot of people that surprise themselves, especially this year with all the craziness in the marketplace, but there are a lot of people who are not. And I mean that's definitely the number one issue coming from our teams right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the name of the game right now is lead generation, is how can I fill the pipeline with the right kind of client and not to the point where you're overwhelmed. So depending where you're at with your career, you either have a marketing infrastructure and you have a team, or you're looking at your pipeline and you're thinking, I need to do something different. I need to start marketing. I'm going to throw a bunch of money at AdWords and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's what you don't do.
Don't do that.
don't do that. So definitely don't
Yes,
do that.
don't.
Don't do that. So again, like this is a broker's playbook, like kind of a special edition. We were speaking last night, and we were kind of going back and forth with the topics and a lot of feedback. Thanks everybody for the feedback.
I appreciate it.
As to what you want to hear and see on Broker's Playbook. And this is kind of the overwhelming topic right now. As Laura said, we're in middle of Q3 or heading towards the middle of Q3. And for those of you who are not meeting the targets that you set back in December of last year, lead gen is the biggest focus. And I think for those asking, well, what should I focus on? What should I choose? Can anybody really make that choice for you?
No, it depends on who your target market is and
who you are.
Who you are. Your target market is determined by who you are.
Right.
So that's going to be a combination of where your expertise already lies, where your social network and maybe even education or professional network already lies. A lot of people come into financial services and real estate via different avenues. You know, it's a second career for a lot of people, right? But you can leverage your background if your pursuit is to more targeted social media, organic type of marketing, where you're trying to cultivate.
So why don't we take down? Why don't we take down a couple paths?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the chief operating officer at Global Matrix. I'm the partner and co-founder of the REC, and we have a team of 35 agents. Mm-hmm. Let's say an intermediate on the team comes in. Most of our seniors are actually in a really good place because they were all able to leverage the anomalies in the economy this year, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's hype in the marketplace, low mortgages. Yeah. But the seniors are all a lot further ahead than what they thought they would be, and that's because they're seniors and they know how to adapt. It's the intermediates that I find that are always caught between some bad habits, trying to adapt to new trends, having a hard time to pivot. So if they come into the office, Laura, one of your mortgage brokers, says, Laura, what do I do right now? I have $1,000 a month that I can allocate to new business. Forget about the referral business. I'm working my referral business. Things are happening, but I need new supply. I need more water in the well. What do I do today? So based on their personality, how would you guide them?
Well, I would first make sure that they have taken the time to determine who their target market is, as I mentioned. In the grand scheme of things, as many of you know, $1,000 towards marketing is chump change. So, I mean, you could boost a few Facebook or LinkedIn ads for that price. Like, you wouldn't really want to spend that on Google AdWords because the average price per lead on AdWords is anywhere from $150 to $200. Right, so you're looking at 5 strangers from the internet that Googled Toronto home purchase, which is everyone, and you're looking
cheapest mortgage rate.
Yeah, cheapest mortgage rate, lowest mortgage rate, or 100% financing. These like unicorn situations, and you know at that point it's a race to the bottom, like we said earlier. It's
so the clients you're going to get are always going to be chopping.
These are rate shoppers. These are people that already have listing agents or are an agent and are just wasting your time trying to get information. So you definitely get what you pay for in terms of effort and in terms of dollars.
Okay. I think this is a twofold conversation. I think from the perspective of what any individual salesperson, broker in mortgage or real estate should do depends on their background, depends on what established kind of wells they have. So if you're huge on Facebook, if you're huge on Instagram or LinkedIn, or if you have neither, you're in a different world to her. Mm-hmm. You haven't adapted to 2020. Mm-hmm. But if you are on social platforms, for example, would it be advantageous for you to run ads to your existing network and new network based on your strengths? Mm-hmm. What are you strong at, bro? Mm-hmm. What is it you do best?
Yeah, you want to target a specific pain point, right? People ultimately make a buying decision based on like pain and fear, really, right? Like fear of doing the wrong thing, or if they are inactive, then that's the wrong thing. And of course, the pain points being at some point there's a pain point in the deal, right? So maybe that's that they have weak credit, or maybe they don't have a lot of income, or whatever it is, right?
Or time.
Maybe it's a rush deal. So your ad, whatever that is, even if you're posting content, it should speak to a specific pain point. Hey, did your mortgage deferral get declined? Okay, I can refinance you with a private lender.
And now we know they have bruised credit because they're 2-3 payments behind.
Right.
So we know what to expect.
You're not going to get a rate shopper on that ad, right? You're going to get someone that has that specific problem, and you have identified yourself as the person that can help them with that problem. So that's really what all marketing should be framed in. 100%.
Identifying the problem and providing,
and like making that very visceral to them, without being too wordy, of course, right? Like before there was 100,000 new blogs being created a day, right? And now there's 100,000 new YouTube videos a minute. Right. So the medium has changed, right? Like the whole thing where maybe if I have a little blog on my website, that's going to do something. Like no guess what? Video is the new medium. So you need to take some time to understand the trends right now, to understand the avenues with which your potential clients are coming in there through. Let's say that you're not a social media person. You're going to be more of a business-to-business referral person, boots on the ground. So I want you then to work your phone book, right? Go through that. Call your dentist. Call your kid's coach. Create these really strong relationships.
So let's help them out. What is it you say? So I'm not a social media person. Mm-hmm. I'm a boots on the ground, belly to belly.
Yeah.
Fine. What is it do I say? I want more business today. I go to my dentist. I go to the coffee shop. I go to my neighbor. What do I say without sounding desperate? What do I say because I don't want to be embarrassed? Which is so common for people that to have, for me it's not. For me, I can ask for business anywhere, anytime. I feel it's my God-given right to ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
But to those who are not as, let's say, out there or outspoken, what is your advice? How do they go about it?
It's an interview, right? So you want to come from a place of wanting to help them, and you approach that with curiosity and genuine interest in what their current situation is and how you could help them within that. So basically, people are going to fall into one of two categories. Either they're an economic buyer for whatever things that you sell are, and they plan to pull the trigger on that within the next 6 months. So you would ask them questions like, are you a homeowner? Or, I see that you live in this area. Like, how long you been there? Maybe fish, are you renting or do you own it? And things like that out of them. But, if, the question ends with, oh, I live with my parents and I like it, so no further questions? No, not no further questions. Oh, what do you do for a living, right? And, oh, well, do you have investments? Maybe you want to invest in private mortgages. Or maybe, I have someone that can help you out with your business, right? Oh, you need a graphic designer. I know someone. I'll hook you up, right? So you basically do little things to curry favor.
To carry favor. To create reciprocity.
Yeah, you want to create reciprocity with absolutely everyone you talk to.
This is it.
That's what you're doing.
So if you're not a social media person, and as a fact that unless you have a niche and a massive infrastructure behind you, putting money on Google to get 100 leads for $1,000, they're only gonna waste $1,000 because you're not gonna call them on time. If you don't call a Google lead within the first 60 to 120 seconds, just forget about it. They don't remember they filled out a form.
Yeah.
So go back to the person who is not a guru on social media. They're gonna go belly to belly. They're gonna go see their clients. The first thing anybody needs to be doing is what your entire last 2 minutes boils down to: reciprocity. Instead of walking into your dentist and saying, do you have someone you can refer to me? You can ask your mechanic, you can ask your dentist,
What can I do for you?
What does your perfect client look like? How is it that I can help you grow your business?
Right.
You're not asking them, obviously, somebody with a toothache. Clearly, that's the case. But how can I bring people to you? Do you like seeing children? I see you just renovated your lobby and you put a children's playground in. I know so many families that will appreciate this. I'm going to let everyone in my network, Mr. Dentist, know that you invest in your business and you care about the child's experience at your dental office.
Exactly.
What do you think the dentist is going to say back?
Yeah. Oh,
every time.
Thank you so much. How can I,
how can I
do the same?
The same for you.
Yeah.
So there are ways to generate new business, no doubt. There are ways to close more business, no doubt. And these are all things that you need to do today. As we discussed, we're in the middle, heading to the middle of Q3. Everybody wants to have that amazing year behind them, no matter what happened during the year. Forget this twilight zone that this year has been. We're having a record-breaking year.
Yeah.
I'm speaking about me personally. And I'm not saying this from anywhere to bang my fist on my chest whatsoever. It's been tremendous because we made massive pivots, and the gambles that we took paid off. They could have very easily not paid off.
Right.
So call it lady luck, call it educated guesses. It worked out.
I think that the people that fared the best were the people that reinvested in their business and really doubled down on the things that weren't immediately selling but were kind of boring, like creating email templates and making sure that they were utilizing their CRM and technology to the best of their ability. Maybe they did some rebranding and upgraded their website. So this is what it takes to set yourself up for future growth, and it's very unglamorous work.
100%.
Right? Like you need to carve time out of your weekends to do these kinds of things, and it's not necessarily something that you can defer, because again, only you can answer the question of, who you want to serve and who you're set up to serve most effectively.
And you said these are all key words, and it's not a coincidence that leaders in the business and experts in the business say these things, because they mean these things. You said to serve.
Yes. We are
You didn't
service.
you didn't say do a deal.
No.
You said to serve.
Yeah.
The clients you serve.
Yes.
So
that's how you keep them as clients. You serve their needs. They don't serve your bank account. You serve their needs.
And you get compensated for it.
And you happen to get compensated for it.
So I think that is a very big and fundamental
And you
shift.
serve them whether you get compensated for it or not. That's the other thing.
You're blasting point on point. So why don't you take it deep? Why?
Okay. Ultimately, if you want to be seen as someone worthy of people's business, worthy of their referrals, and worthy of their attention on social media, on the internet, and in person, you need to be seen as an expert.
Or to be an expert.
And yes, so to be seen as an expert, ideally you are an expert, and you've been demonstrative of this through consistent posts on things that are relevant to people. Maybe you're giving them the link, hey, small business owners, here's a link to Government Canada where you can get your wage subsidy stuff filled out. Hey, small business owners, here's that rent relief package, right? Like, it's nothing. You got that in your email. Maybe you came across it on a news platform or whatever. You share that. You say your piece on it. It's so simple.
It's hilarious you say this. And this is obviously a pure coincidence, because you're mentioning things that were very relevant in the last couple of months. If you go to www.reccanada.com and go to our media and to our blog, forget the videos. Like, we created this very podcast during COVID.
Yes, we did.
Straight up, without even meeting actually in person. But during that time, the only content we were putting out is content that could help people in non-real estate ways. We put out content that was entertaining to keep people from being sad.
Yeah.
We created content on every Saturday to keep people company and keep talking about things that were relevant to them. Like, are your tenants going to pay you this month? What can you do? How can you help your tenant as a landlord slash investor to make it through COVID? You'll be okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Through a deferral, through this. But be a human first.
Be human.
Serve your client. Have a conversation on how you can help your dentist in your core 100, which is a massive strategy. And this is, I will give a huge shout out to Jared James. Maybe, not maybe, I'll definitely tag him on this post.
Nice.
Jared James came up years ago with a core 100, which talks exactly to what Laura was mentioning earlier. Jared James is not a pioneer, he's a leader as a real estate coach. We have learned many things through him. And through our brokerage, we consistently engage him with coaching and motivation and for us to keep improving.
Yep.
So to hear, Laura, from you, because you're on the brokerage side, and I don't think we share speakers. There's speakers for both. But at the end of the day, the service industry, you could be in the painting business.
Yeah.
It's no different.
Any professional service, any financial service, anything.
Because we're not selling a product, we are the product.
You are the product. So back to, how you're interfacing with people and what's going to essentially make them feel confident to either refer you business or to work with you. It's that you are in a state of giving your expertise freely without expectation of immediate benefit. Nobody likes someone that reminds you that they paid for dinner, right? Like, that's not a good look.
That is the greatest comparison of all time. Don't tell me you paid for dinner last time.
That's...
It is not tasteful.
It's not tasteful.
It's
So,
not tasteful.
you need to just be there to give people good advice. And maybe that advice is, I don't think you should sell now, or I don't think you should buy now, or I don't think you should get that second mortgage or take that loan. It's the hard choice sometimes. Maybe you could take the business and you could make it work, but ultimately you want to just give sound, objective advice. And that is our fiduciary duty. We must not ever forget that. So we need to work together to keep the industry classy, to keep it as...
Elevate the game.
We need to elevate the game because we have a little bit of an image to shake. Like, if you look at how lawyers or psychologists or real estate agents are portrayed in the media, they're always these greasy sales types that are looking to make a quick buck.
And I think that couldn't be further from the truth in our city. I'll say that, have I met sleazy salespeople in the city? Of course I have. Is there tons of them out there? I wouldn't say there's tons of them, but I would say there's more than there should be. And I think for anybody watching this, these clips are made for everybody to really kind of self-reflect for a second and get some ideas on lead gen, get some ideas on how to service them, and get some ideas on the mentality. There's nothing more crucial and more important that comes out of this conversation than the mentality. So if anybody comes into your office, if anybody comes into my office, I can tell you for certain, if somebody says, how can I get 100 leads into my desk today? The first thing I'm going to answer is, what in the fuck are you going to do with 100 leads today? You're going to come back in a week and you're going to tell me that they were online garbage leads.
Yep.
But truly...
These leads are terrible.
And go back and watch Glenn Ross.
Yeah.
You want to talk about leads. Because there's a classic scene in there. You can...
Alec Baldwin rips them a new one.
So if you want to talk about leads, watch that show and then maybe don't come back to my office. You want to talk about your infrastructure. You want to talk about your strengths. So if you're going to come into my office, you're going to say, Simeon, I'm really, really strong at speaking with people in person. Or, I come from a call center background. I can make 200 calls a day. Then you're a numbers game guy. Fine. No problem. There's a position for you.
If you can work it that way, fine. And hey, this is where the delegation comes in, right? So for me, I have the infrastructure. I have someone that's pre-qualifying the leads.
Correct.
And kind of queuing up that conversation for me so that I'm not personally the one making those 8 points of contact by the time I finally get a hold of them to pre-qualify them.
And there's nothing wrong with this system. Obviously, you're now a decade in.
I'm a decade in, right?
But
so
you didn't start there.
No, I started with being that person that had to grind and call, text, email on a schedule with a workflow as set out by, you know, a best standards of practice manual, right?
And the books that you read and everything
Yeah.
else. Fine. But I want to go back to one second because there's many types of people.
Not
everybody's going to be you. Not everybody's going to be me, and you're not going to be anyone else either. So if you are the belly to belly guy, create reciprocity. It's going to come to you tenfold.
Yeah.
It's going to come back to you quicker than you may think.
Quicker than you think, for
If
sure.
you're
in really surprising and unexpected and lovely ways.
In life ways.
Yeah.
In the best ways.
In the best ways. Maybe it's like, hey, I have an extra Rolling Stones ticket. Do you want it? Right?
Yes,
like,
I do.
Yes, I do. Right? And that kind of thing will happen too.
That will happen too.
Yeah.
But if you're the call center guy, you need to make 200 calls to get your 4 deals out of those 200 calls. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're the online guy, if you're the social media guy, create ads that are relevant to today. Not the ad you created that was evergreen a year ago. If I hear the term evergreen again, what are you, a freaking library that needs to stay like what are you, a post office?
Super random.
You're a realtor. You need to create value. You need to create value today.
Yeah.
You need to know what are people going through right now. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Address it.
Address it specifically.
I saw an ad yesterday. It said, I just sold a home for record price. Text me and I will tell you how I did it. I hate that ad.
That's so...
Let me guess, you put it on the MLS?
You sound like a catfish. Like
It's a catfish.
yeah.
So
like am I on Plenty of Fish and like you're, you know, like
What's the big
bajillionaire or something like that? Like
I would rather see you with your clients talking about what happened here. I would love to know what happened here. I would love to know how you achieved the highest price. Did you price it below market, create a bidding war? Did you price it just right because you're a gangster and you understand the market? What did you do?
I think a better ad with that same example would be, think your house can't sell for what it's worth, like, you know.
Sure. But why can't you do an interview with your client?
Yes, I can.
Or an interview with your colleague about the client. You don't have to. The client's not comfortable. Don't bring the client into it. But have a conversation with your admin. Share it with the world. That we created a very unique marketing strategy here. We put a red couch off the balcony and we hung it there for 3 days and it got the attention of the whole police department.
That's
and
random.
And I was arrested, but everybody loved me and thought it was funny and they gave me a big offer.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Share
Way better
your strategy in a tasteful way.
Don't be so cryptic.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to make me ask you, and I'm not going to follow you to find out what you did to sell a random house in a random neighborhood that I don't give a shit about.
Here's the facts. Selling has changed, the buyers have changed, the game has changed. Whatever tactics you were using before, calling out of the phone book, or, you know, promising the lowest rate or 1% real estate listing fees and things like that. Like, we have very, very educated economic buyers right now and clients. So you need to offer them what they want, which is information. They want information.
Real information.
They want real information. And if you can be a source of real information, then you deserve their business. And if you can't, then you need to learn some things.
And are people patient to get information these days? The answer is no. People want information, they want it now.
Right. So you can have templates for information. Of course. So if I have a reverse mortgage ad, of course, I love to market reverse mortgages. It's the fastest growing segment in Canada, and there's only a few lenders that do it. So there's a lot of potential for growth in that market. So having identified the potential for growth in that particular market, we have particular ads for that segment. And there's always the same kinds of questions, right? Like, if I'm this years old, if I'm 75 years old, how much equity can I take out, and approximately how much is it going to cost? These are regular questions. So instead of just, you know, making them go through the rigmarole of answering it every time over the phone, I'll have a email template or a video segment that explains it, and say, here, what's your email and your phone number, and I'll send you a link.
But not before where you have to
info.
blackmail them for their info.
No.
Give the information.
Have it, and then if you're still interested, now knowing the parameters, we can have a real conversation about qualifying.
And how much more qualified is that lead? So if you
this much more, like yeah.
So and this is the thing.
Yeah.
So if you ask somebody, call me to find out how.
That's crap.
That's crap. If you tell somebody, this is what I did, and if you like what you see, I would be honored to do it for you. You don't think if you're gonna get, instead of getting 10 calls, you're gonna get 3, but the 3 calls are all gonna hire you.
Yeah, it's
because
not,
they like you.
It's not Swiss chalet sauce, guys, right? Like no one is going to
She's
take
hungry.
your secrets.
She's hungry today.
Dude, all day with this. All this. Okay, it's not, but like no one's gonna take your secret sauce and be able to do what you do with their like no experience or their lack of contacts, right? So
share the info.
Just share it.
I think that's a good end to this.
Yeah.
It's been great seeing you again today, Laura. It's been great spending the time with all of you. Thank you for choosing to watch this video. We hope it brought you value. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you want feedback on any of this, don't hesitate to reach out to us at community@brokersplaybook.com. Laura, what's your favorite place to be reached personally?
You should definitely find me on LinkedIn, Laura Martin.
LinkedIn as well, Simeon Papalias. Reach out in any medium you can find us. We're there, and we'll see you soon.
Peace out.